Do not turn on frame generation unless you're okay with input delay. Let me explain frame generation in Marvel Rivals. If you have under the recommended settings for the game, which is a 2070 Super graphics card and a processor from mid to late 2020, you're going to need frame generation to try to reach playable FPS numbers. It's just that simple. If you have the luxury of owning a great PC that doesn't struggle, then sure, don't use the setting. But for average PC owners, there will be trade-offs for optimization. Research from companies like TechSpot shows that frame generation could typically produce around 10 milliseconds of added latency, which is not incredibly noticeable to the average PC gamer, or even the average human being in general, versus how noticeable a 30 to 40 FPS improvement is, which is typically the sort of bump you're going to see by enabling frame generation in Marvel Rivals. The game already inherently sits at around 20 to 30 milliseconds of input delay margin from its design alone, so an additional 10 to 15 milliseconds isn't insane. Now, you should not use frame generation if your PC specifically adds more than 30 milliseconds of input delay, putting the game to an overall average of 60 to 70 milliseconds of latency, which is definitely not great, and 100% starts to lean into being a lot more noticeable. If you want to check your PC input latency settings, I recommend a program called Riva Tuner, and if you enjoy video game content, make sure to follow for daily uploads. Much love, goats, and thanks for joining me in the dojo.